Hello, welcome to the studio. Today is a bits and pieces day again. I have a few pieces that I've had for a while actually, and even some of them have been out in the world, and they've come back again. They've come back round to me again, and suddenly I can see what they need, and they just need something a little bit extra, maybe some brighter colour, maybe a bit of definition, maybe just some extra layers. So that's what I'm doing this week. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, like the video. You can go to my website, ruthander.co.uk, if you want to join my mailing list. And I am launching my complete hand printing video course again in March. Videos will be released on the 6th of March, so if you're interested in that, do go along to the website ruthander.co.uk and you can sign up there. So here I'm adding some yellow, and I kind of want a sunset kind of effect. So I'm just lining up the paper by eye, and then hopefully it will sit in the right place. I'm not using registration marks here, but I have drawn on the back beforehand the horizon line, so I vaguely know where I'm going, and then I'm using the Baron to press onto the back of the paper, and there we go. That's actually rather nice. And the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to add a kind of a land mass, I suppose. There is actually one already on this piece, but it doesn't show up very well. It's not very dark, and I think this piece needs a bit of definition. So I'm adding this kind of purpley, bluey purple. I'm just going to roll it out fairly evenly, and then I'm going to take off the ink to create a shape. So I'm just using kitchen towel for this. You can get quite precise marks with kitchen towel actually. Just making the shape that I want, taking off the excess ink. Sometimes it takes a little bit of going at it to get it off. You can use a bit of oil on your kitchen towel if you want to, but that can get a bit messy. And then I'm just using this piece of scrap paper as a masking out tool really, because I'd like a straight line at the bottom, a horizon line essentially at the bottom of this shape. So again, this is a matter of trying to line up exactly where I want it. And now this, I really don't want this landmass to go below the horizon. So I do have to be quite careful about placing the paper on here. Just double checking. And then I'm using the Baron again to fairly lightly press on, because there's a fair amount of ink there, so I don't want to over press. And that's come out really nicely, kind of, yeah, beautiful. So I'm now going to roll on some ink. I want a bit more of that lovely yellow colour. So I'm just going to roll a bit out onto my smaller roller. And I'm not going to put the ink right onto the edges, so I don't get too many straight lines. I just want a kind of drift of colour on the bottom of the picture here. And that's going to act a bit like a reflection, I suppose, of that yellow sunset that I put in earlier. And there we go, no straight lines. Now I'm moving on to another piece here. This is a really quite a large piece that I made a while ago, and I just feel it needs a little something extra. It's very green at the moment, so I'm going to add a little bit of red. Although this looks like a lot, I'm actually just going to use this to press into to do some line work. So I'm rolling out, it's fairly thin thinly rolled out this. I don't want loads because I don't want it to splurge all over the picture as I print. So a fairly thin layer. So this is the piece that I'm going to put some lines on. So I don't want to go mad. I don't want it to be completely covered up because there's lots of lovely things I like about this. But I do just want something that will give it a bit of a lift. So I've actually rolled a bit too much out there, and I don't want it to go really near the bottom. So I'm just taking a bit of the ink off. And then placing it down. I'm going to use my trusty knife handle, which does quite nice thin lines. And I'm pressing quite lightly to start with. Okay, and that's hardly showing actually, so I think I'm going to have to do that again, pressing down really quite hard. This already has collage on it, it already has ink on it, dried ink, so and it's etching paper, so you sometimes need to be a bit forceful when you're trying to print through that. There we go, that's showing up a bit better. And it's making those colours zing as well. Just adding a bit more here. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So I'm adding a little bit more darkness into the corner of the sky. So I'm just rolling out a fairly even patch of sort of grey colour here. And I'm going to take a little bit of that out just by hand with a bit of kitchen towel, just to create a kind of effect of rain perhaps, and sort of weather moving over. So I'm just taking some of the ink off quite haphazardly really. You can't see that very well, but when it prints it should show up hopefully. Just tidying up the edges there a little bit. Okay, so it's that top corner that I'm going to add it to. And again, just taking care, placing this correctly. I don't want it to cover up the little trees that are on there or any of the nice marks that are already there. So I'm just pressing down actually on the top bit so that I know that it's not going to print too far down. Can probably get away with just a little bit more. And there we go. So moving on now to the last piece that I'm working on, which needs I think it needs a bit of darkness, a bit of definition. So I'm rolling out some Prussian blue here. It's not mixed with anything. Prussian blue can have a really nice effect often, just on its own. Beautiful colour. And again, I'm rolling out a fairly thin amount, but quite a large, over a larger area, because I'm going to do some line work again, very similar to what I did with the red. But I don't want too much of it, because I don't want it to splurge all over the print. So this is the one I'm working on. I like lots of things about this. I love the patina and the texture. I feel it just needs a little bit of something extra, a little bit of darkness, and I hope I'm not going to ruin it. Okay, again, not quite strong enough, so I'm going to press in really quite hard onto this and see if that works. Yeah, that's got a bit of movement, a bit of energy to it, and I'm liking that. And last but not least, I'm going to roll on some darkness onto the sky here. And the paper is picking up the ink in quite a sort of haphazard way, so I can't really control that very much, but that's kind of the beauty of it, really. It's just giving it this really nice texture. And there we go. So these are the pieces that I worked on, just to give you an idea of how they actually worked out. I love this purple land mass here on this one. Completely makes the piece all of a sudden. Didn't really plan that, it just kind of printed like that, which is kind of why I love printmaking in general. And I added a little bit more of this yellow as well. So that one's looking good. This one here is quite a large piece. I still think it might need a bit of extra work, but I really think the red makes everything sing out and really works. And I also like this kind of sky area here as well now. So that one's coming on, and then this one here, I've added a little bit more after the video, a kind of bit of red there and covered it up. I'm actually not too happy with this one, so I will work a little bit more on it, but it's going to dry for the moment, and I will have another look at it again.